and we'll get started in about 1 short minute. Because I know how punctual teachers are with their clock, I'm starting about 10 seconds early. I want to welcome everybody to what I think is a unique graduation day today, because we have both Rutland and we're going to take a pause. We have some of our students missing. Are they on the way? It's Kathleen's class, right? I know she knows. We have half our graduates here, so we have an important group we're waiting on. You guys all ready for this? Yeah. Maybe. Now we'll get started. Graduates, this is the day we've been waiting for. To introduce myself to the rest of the crowd, my name is Steve Rowe. I'm a Deputy Sheriff of the Lake County Sheriff's Office and the School Resource Officer for the Lake County Schools, which consist of Ramona, Rutland, Madison Christian School, as well as Chester. Part of my responsibilities as an SRO, as it's better known as, is to keep weekly tabs on the schools, check in with them, see what I can help with. Any problems they come up with, I look at being an extra set of hands and eyes for them. It's a very rewarding job, very rewarding position, but it's also very busy. One of the tasks I have is the Empower program. The whole point of this is to empower your student, your child, with the knowledge base of being a good citizen, being honest. Was that me? Wow, that scared me. The idea with this is to make sure that they are empowered with the knowledge of being a good citizen, being honest, know how to prevent bullying, know how to step out of their comfort zone to be a friend and help where needed, as well as some drug awareness so they understand how to recognize it. And what was the one chapter that we said was the hardest to master but the easiest to learn? Say it out loud. Just say no. This is a very rewarding day for you guys. I want you guys to be proud of what you've accomplished, and I want you guys to know that everything we went through, parents, we shoved a lot of information into them, but they soaked it up like a sponge. Your student was excellent during class in both Ramona and Rutland schools, and I put credit to not only the students, but to the teachers knowing how they run their classroom. I also want to give a couple special acknowledgments to the parents. If it isn't for you guys getting your child here and the fact that you guys showed up today, that to me speaks volumes to show that they see the support that you guys give them. You guys remember the goofy question I asked yesterday when I visited here? By a show of hands, who made their bed this morning? Oh boy. Well, hopefully, if I could get my runner to shut the lights off, this video here will hopefully explain why. And parents, this is something on YouTube. I played this at my graduations before. You may have seen it. I see it quite often. I think it's a very powerful point. It's only 6 minutes long, but it's a very neat video. And this will explain why I'm asking if you made your bed. Play the video.
Change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you were also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew we call them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and out. My SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew we call them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and out.
When you guys get it going again, feel free to start wherever. Is that a no-go, sir? As they mess with that, I'm just going to continue on. You guys kind of get the point of that video. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're coming from. It doesn't matter what accomplishments you have your goals set on. You guys have exactly what you need here in this very school to be educated, to take advantage of that, knowing that the teachers, the administration provide what you need. It's a matter of you guys knowing whether you know it now or you're going to need a little bit more life experience to recognize what your gift is. Each one of you have an opportunity just like this. What this is basically getting across, you guys, is that anything can happen for you guys to make a difference and change the world. Believe it or not, you yourself could. As we move forward today, I do want to acknowledge some sponsors that make this thing happen. I want to
prior to every swim
for allowing this, as well as Rutland administrators, to allow this whole program to go down. I want to thank Mr. Fisher, Mr. Anderson from Ramona, as well as Mr. Clark, who allows me to be a guest speaker in his class and walk in anytime to see you guys. I also want to thank Mr. Brosnahan and Mr. Books, Ms. Willem, and Mrs. Trower, because they do the same thing. They are very excited to see me. I'm always greeted with open doors. It's been great. Also, Madison Instaprint is who provides the packets we use, as well as certificates. And I also want to thank Sheriff Wahlberg and my co-workers, because they help shuffle the schedules around for me to be able to come into the schools as well as do special days like this. The first guest speaker I have, actually, you guys want to know who won the essay contest? Yeah? You guys want to know? Yes. You good? Go ahead and play it then. We're going to give it one more shot. It's got a fun point. We'll see if we can nail it.
Outran and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys from every corner of the nation and the world always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers. The 9th week of training is referred to as Hell Week. It is 6 days of no sleep, constant physical and mental harassment, and one special day at the Mud Flats. The Mud Flats are an area between San Diego and Tijuana where the water runs off and creates the Tijuana Sloughs, a swampy patch of terrain where the mud will engulf you. It is on Wednesday of Hell Week that you paddle down the Mud Flats and spend the next 15 hours trying to survive the freezing cold, the howling wind, and the incessant pressure to quit from the instructors. As the sun began to set that Wednesday evening, my training class, having committed some egregious infraction of the rules, was ordered into the mud. The mud consumed each man till there was nothing visible but our heads. The instructors told us we could leave the mud if only 5 men would quit. Only 5 men, just 5 men, and we could get out of the oppressive cold. Looking around the mud flat, it was apparent that some students were about to give up. It was still over 8 hours till the sun came up. 8 more hours of bone-chilling cold. The chattering teeth and the shivering moans of the trainees were so loud, it was hard to hear anything. And then one voice began to echo through the night. One voice raised in song. The song was terribly out of tune, but sung with great enthusiasm. One voice became 2, and 2 became 3, and before long, everyone in the class was singing. The instructors threatened us with more time in the mud if we kept up singing, but the singing persisted, and somehow the mud seemed a little warmer, and the wind a little tamer, and the dawn not so far away. If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, it is the power of hope. The power of one person, a Washington, a Lincoln, King, Mandela, and even a young girl from Pakistan, Malala. One person can change the world by giving people hope. So if you want to change the world, start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. But if you take some risks, step up when the times are the toughest, face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, and never, ever give up. If you do these things, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world far better than the one we have today. And what started here will indeed have changed the world for the better.
I think that helped the point get across. Would you guys agree? I know that's military based, and you guys know I'm retired military, but I thought that was a really good video to get the point across, knowing that any of you can be in there, not in military uniform, but anything you guys end up getting challenged with in life, that can be you guys overcoming incredible odds. So when it comes time for this program, parents, one thing that the students are required to do in order to graduate is write an essay on what they learned. That's one of the most rewarding yet challenging tasks I have, because I have homework a couple times a week before graduation comes in. I'm going to tell you guys are good writers. I had a difficult time, as I always do, to figure out everything that you guys were explaining and figure out who I think would be the best one that wrote the point the best. Parents, what they do is they go through the entire 9-lesson plan and figure out what they learn out of each one and write an essay on it. I go through to see who I feel is using what they learned in school, between handwriting, their sentence structure, spelling, grammar, all that. And then what we do is we reward them by giving them compliments of the Sheriff's Office and Dairy Queen of Madison. The winner gets a small blizzard. So, you guys ready for the winner? Now, I normally do one winner, but because we've got the unique combination of Ramona Rutland today, we have one winner from each school. We're going to start off with Ramona. Clay, come on up. You're welcome. Clay had a very good essay that wrote, and it's basically what I've told them is, when you guys write this, make it so even an adult will be entertained to see what you learned, and then have it to be exciting so the kids younger than you know what they get to look forward to. And that leads to Rutland's winner, Miss Waltz. Laurel, come on up. There you go. This one I gave a lot of credit for because she hand wrote it. I gave each student the opportunity to type it out, since that's kind of the way we're doing homework and different assignments. But I noticed that she hand wrote it, and she made a lot of good points, which each and every one of you, like I said, this was another great year letting me know that I at least got something across to you, whether or not it's fact or fiction. I know some of you wrote down that was your favorite part, but ultimately you guys did great. Without any more delay, what I'm going to do is one more quick announcement, and that is to say, you guys are going to get a special token at the time you get your certificates, and this is thanking my wife for creating this thing, as well as thanking you guys for the accomplishment you made by graduating. You guys know those rubber bracelets that are a fad right now? Something that I give you guys to show off what you've accomplished is one that has law enforcement colors and says Empower. You guys get these at graduation, and they're special because that's all they're for, is graduation. You guys can do what you want with them, but know to wear it proud if you choose to, because not everybody gets these. I also have somebody here, and I'm going to make one more announcement. You guys will also be receiving a letter when it comes in the mail to my office. Mr. John Thune actually wrote each of you guys a congratulations letter. They are not here yet, but when they are, I'm going to personally deliver them to each of you. So you have something to look forward to. The office in South Dakota at that level has acknowledged each one of you for the Empower graduation today. Sound like something to look forward to? Excellent. We're going to get on to someone that's a little bit more entertaining than me to speak with, because you guys have heard enough from me. The first guest speaker I'm going to bring up actually is my father. He is retired Air Force, Vietnam veteran, retired Sioux Falls Police Department, and he used to teach the same program. His name is Dave, and he has a couple words of wisdom for you, as well as introducing our main guest speaker.
And he got the long talking thing from his mother, not from me. Thank you. I always get the fun job. He always asks me to find a guest speaker for you folks, and I get the fun job because I get to go through different people that I've known or had an experience with and find out what they do. Somebody from South Dakota that's probably made a difference somewhere, had a great career and came back, and it all reflects on kind of what you did in the class today. So I pulled another one out of the hat. He's done this for me before, and he was very happy to come up and do this for you today. I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's from Hawarden, Iowa. If you're not sure where that's at, it's right across the street practically from Beersford, South Dakota. It's right on the South Dakota-Iowa border. He went to college, University of Sioux Falls, or back then it was Sioux Falls College in Sioux Falls. He liked to play football, and he liked to punt. And in 1984, the New Orleans Saints drafted him. And he spent the next 16 years in the NFL between the Saints, and I remember him from the New York Jets more than anybody. But he is here today to tell you about his NFL history and show you some stuff, and he's going to autograph stuff for you when he's done. So I am done talking compared to my son. Yay. I tease you. Without further ado, I would like you to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Mr. Brian Hansen, a retired NFL punter. Brian. Complete with helmet and jersey, folks, huh?
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here. How are you guys? I found it. I found my way here. I got a little lost. I was a little dependent on my phone today, and I started off, I left it at home. I took off down the road and realized I didn't have my phone. I was counting on that to get me here, and so then I had to drive back and get that, and then I got a new phone last week, and so it wasn't completely programmed. And so I was kind of depending on my phone to get me here. So I was going all over the place and going in circles, but I found it, and I am here, and I'm excited to be a part of this this morning and to be with you and hopefully say a few words that would be of some value to you, that would encourage you, and hopefully you've been really blessed and encouraged by this program. I'm excited that you had this opportunity and have taken something from this, but I'm really fired up after watching that video. I thought training camp was tough, but what those guys went through, that was pretty amazing. So today I just wanted to share a few things with you to hopefully build on what you guys have experienced over the past several weeks through this program. But believe it or not, I was an NFL football player. And I was a punter and a backup quarterback and played a lot of different positions. I was the holder for field goals and did whatever I could to stay on the team. And that's really kind of what it takes, willingness to do whatever to be a part of a team. Now I brought, just as proof, in case you doubted, because I'm 20 years removed from the NFL. I haven't played a game in 20 years. I played for the Saints, and I thought that was a good team to identify with now that I think they're 9-1, right? So how many Saints fans do we have? Anybody jumped on the bus, the Saints bus, the fan bus? You're a Saints fan? We got one. Two? Oh, we got a couple. Behind the Broncos. That's where we got a few Viking fans in here, right? Oh, yeah. Well, they're doing okay, too. Hopefully they'll, I don't know what it'll come down to, but it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. But I was with the Saints, and that's where I started, and it was there the longest period of time. And then through free agency went to New England, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, and the Washington Redskins. So I played for a total of 15 years in the NFL as a punter and a backup, what they called me the disaster quarterback. I wasn't a backup quarterback, I was the disaster quarterback. That meant when everything else went bad, when the other two quarterbacks went down, then I would go in. And I never had to do that, but I got to at least have that title for a very short time. But anyway, I had a dream as a kid, like a lot of kids do, of being a professional athlete. Anybody here have that dream? Being an athlete? That was kind of my dream, and I was a Vikings fan. And I was not exactly what they call a blue chipper coming out of high school. There wasn't a lot of colleges recruited me out of high school. In fact, nobody was. But I did end up going to the University of Sioux Falls. You guys heard of that? Sioux Falls College. They've got a really good football program. Was able to get a $500 scholarship to play at the University of Sioux Falls, which doesn't go very far at a private Baptist college. But I had a chance to play football, and I didn't see that as a stepping stone to the NFL, but I had this dream. And I realized what I did best was punt the football. I played other positions. I was a wide receiver and a tight end and defensive back and played all those other positions, but punting was the thing that I did best. And after a lot of hard work and just holding on to that dream, and my real, I guess, expectation was that maybe I could get into an NFL training camp, that maybe someone would give me a shot, and if I went beyond that, I really didn't have any realistic expectations that that would happen. But I got drafted by the Saints, and I remember the day that dream came true, and I ran out of the tunnel in the Louisiana Superdome. Anybody been to the Superdome or been to New Orleans? 80,000 people. And where I came from, at USF, we were lucky to have 500 people at a homecoming game. That was a big crowd for us. So to go from 500 to 80,000, and in New Orleans, they just kind of go nuts. There's a lot of fanatics at every stadium for every team, but in New Orleans, it's a whole nother level of crazy and excitement about their team. And so when I ran out of the tunnel, the place just went nuts for opening day back in 1984. And I remember standing on the sidelines, looking across the field and seeing guys, we were playing the Washington Redskins, guys that I had watched on TV when I was your age, and they were still playing. And I'm thinking, how in the world did I get here? And there wasn't a game that went by in 16 years, 15, 16 years that I played, that I didn't think that same thing. How in the world did I get here? And I asked that same question today. I am now, for the last 20 years, since I've been done with football, I've been with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. Anybody heard of that? You ever heard of FCA? Have you? We've got camps, and we do programs with high schools and middle schools. We have youth sports programs, and we have a presence in the state of South Dakota and all across the nation, and now globally. And we work with coaches and athletes primarily, and so that's what I've been doing. It's a full-time sports ministry to coaches and athletes. And I never in a million years thought I would be playing in the NFL, but I never in a million years plus thought I would be in full-time ministry and doing what I'm doing today. And as I was standing on that sideline back in 1984, that's a long time ago, when I was 24 years old, and wondering how in the world is this possible? For a kid to come from a small town, I grew up in Hawarden, Iowa, a town of about 2,000 people, so it's not a big town. For me to be doing the thing that I had dreamed about since the time I was a kid, I said, how in the world is this possible? There is a verse in the Bible that says, "Now glory be to God, who by his mighty power at work within us is able to do far more than we would ever dare to ask or dream of, beyond our highest prayers, desires, thoughts, or hopes. May he be given the glory." And so, trying to understand what that meant and how that applied to me is that God working in me is able to do far more than I would ever dare to ask or dream of, beyond anything that I could imagine. And it's more than just your dream coming true, but what he can accomplish in you and through you, and what is possible, because all things are possible through him who strengthens me. And to realize that you can do beyond, way beyond anything that you ever thought possible, to know that you have a source of strength that is greater than yourself is so essential. To know that truth and to be able to rely on that truth and to have that confidence that you have a purpose in life that is far greater than just your dream coming true and even becoming successful, even as a pro athlete. There's a lot of pro athletes that have attained great levels of achievement, but they're not necessarily successful because they haven't built their foundation. They haven't understood what their purpose is, their real purpose in life, who God has created them to be, and to really find their source of strength. And so they maybe attain some level of physical athletic success, but they truly haven't found success. And that's the thing that I want to encourage you in today, is realize that all things are possible, and that you need to build on your foundation so you understand what your purpose really is. So no matter what it is that you're pursuing, and I mean, there's some people that want to be athletes, and some of you are going to have success with athletics and pursue athletics and see the benefits of athletics. Others are going to pursue other goals, maybe in music or academics or whatever it is that you're called to do or whatever you're passionate about. But the thing that I want to encourage all of you in, no matter what your passion is that you need to understand that you are three-dimensional. As an athlete, as a student, as a musician, whatever it is you're pursuing, that there is the physical, the mental, and the spiritual side of you, part of you. And we need to understand all three of those things need to be developed. You can be a great athlete physically and mentally, but if you don't have a spiritual foundation, you're really going to miss out on what it's all about, on what life is really all about, and how you can use your physical abilities and your athletic abilities to understand what your purpose is and to glorify God. And that's, of the three dimensions, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, what's the thing that's lasting and eternal? Which one? Your body fades, right? I mean, some of us older folks in the room, we know how that works. The physical, that deteriorates. The mental, some of us older folks, mental deteriorates, right? We become somewhat challenged sometimes, physically and mentally, and that's just part of life. Life is a mist. It's here and then it's gone. It's a short time that we're here. And so we need to really focus on the thing that is lasting and eternal, and that's the spiritual, right? To build our foundation on the rock. And that's what I do with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, is point student athletes and coaches to that solid foundation that we find in Christ. And that was what was pointed out to me as an athlete, as an NFL athlete, as an NFL football player, in a locker room, attending a Bible study with a group of NFL football players, a handful of NFL football players that I looked up to and respected, that showed me what my true purpose and calling in life was. So today I want to encourage you that if you're in sports, whatever it is you're pursuing, whatever you want to be, do you guys have dreams of what you want to do? Yeah? Anybody want to share what that dream is, what you want to become, what you'd like to become one day? Who wants to share? An author. Write books? That would be great. Cool. You? NFL. What position would you play? Quarterback. So you'd get all the glory. You'd make all the touchdowns, throw the touchdown passes. That's better than a punter. And they pay better too. Sixth string? That'd be a good gig. That would be a sixth string quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Not a bad deal, but it'd have to be for the Broncos. Okay. Anybody else? But I challenge you today, and I think this is what this is all about today, is to dream big and to believe that all things are possible through Him who strengthens you, who created you and enables you and strengthens you to do it. Because you're going to have a lot of challenges in life. and there's going to be fear and doubt that's going to set in. Fear and doubt just kind of comes with it. So you're going to be in this battle, and you're going to have to pursue it. And I realized that as an athlete, when I was competing, that there was always fear and doubt. Like, I don't know that I can do this. There's always this voice, this presence that says you can't be successful. And I would realize that on a regular basis when I was playing, the middle of my career, after I'd had years of experience, I still struggled with that doubt and that fear and that anxiety. And that's maybe something that you've already experienced when you're competing and pursuing things. But here's a kind of an antidote, or what I use to overcome that. I had a scripture verse that I pasted in my locker room. And it says, "When I am afraid, I will trust in God whose word I trust. In God I trust. I will not be afraid, for what can mortal man do to me?" That is a good one. And I had that plastered on my locker with the Jets. That's when I first came across it, and I just kind of held on to that. When I'm afraid, I will trust in God whose word I trust. In God I trust. I will not be afraid, for what can mortal man do to me? So I'm encouraging you guys today to pursue it. Your dream, your passion, to develop that passion, to create that desire, to pursue the things that you're passionate about. And to don't look back. Just pursue it relentlessly, because in sports, I realize that sports is a tool that's going to test you and teach you and develop you in your faith. It's going to test you and teach you and develop you in your faith. But more than that, sports, and really anything that you're pursuing, is a model. Because in sports, guys, who's basketball? Are you guys playing basketball or football, or what sport do you play? Basketball? Have you guys started yet? Your coach probably talks about being disciplined, right? Committed, passionate, to sacrifice for the sake of the team. You ever heard that from your coach? It's kind of expected, right? And you'll see that all through your athletic career. And you need those same things in music and in dance and in writing books. You need to be committed and passionate and disciplined, right? To develop those skills. And you get to do that for a short time in athletics. That's the thing that it showed me. You get to do it for a short time, but then it's over. All those things that you learned. And I realize that I think God gives us that model in sports that when it's done, that's the thing that He desires in us living and serving Him. To use all those things that we learned in sports for that very short time. Does that make sense? So we take those things that we learned in sports, in school, in competition, and we use it for living and serving Him. Because that's what He's truly called us to do. And in that, that's where you find your true purpose. So whatever He's called you to do, you can take those things and use it for His purpose and for His glory. And ultimately for your success. I've got a video. No, we don't have a video. It was a short clip, and it really showed, well, there's no such thing as a highlight film for an NFL punter. You really can't do a whole lot other than help get your team out of a hole. But it did show some of the setbacks and some of the challenges that come with being an NFL punter. So I want to share a quick story with you, because I think this is so essential. You guys got 5 minutes left to listen to an old guy like me? This is a good story. I think you'll like this. How old are you guys? 11 and 12. Perfect. My second year with the New Orleans Saints, back then they weren't 9-1. We were called the Who-Dats. And it was the Aints. They called us the Aints. It was some long, lean years. But after my second year in the league, I had made it through my first year, and I was pretty amazed that I did that, because there were some challenges that went with that. But my second year in the league, I was on Thanksgiving Day, so this had been like, what, 34 years ago almost, next week. Thanksgiving Day, I'm home after practice, watching football, and somebody knocks on the door. Open the door, it's a 12-year-old kid standing there. He's selling subscriptions to the newspaper on Thanksgiving Day. Kid's pretty smart. He knows everybody's going to be home, right? So he's gonna rack it up. So I see he's got a New Orleans Saints sweatshirt on, and I'm thinking, I'm going to make this kid's day. Here's a Saints fan, 12-year-old kid. I'm thinking, when I'm 12 years old and I would, by chance, meet a player from my favorite team, that'd be a pretty neat deal, right? And so I'm thinking, make this kid's day. So I said, oh, I see you're a Saints fan. And he said, yeah. He said, they're my second favorite team. And I said, who's your first? Well, the Dallas Cowboys. I said, well, who's your favorite players on the Saints? They're your second favorite team. And he named about 5 guys, which I wasn't one of. So I pressed him a little further. And I said, well, do you know the kicker for the Saints? He said, oh, yeah. He says, that's Morton Anderson. He's probably one of the best kickers in the whole league. He said, I can't believe I didn't say him because he's really good. I said, well, yeah, Morton, he's pretty good. He said, how about the punter for the Saints? You know the punter? And he said, kind of hemmed and hawed, and said, oh, yeah. He says, that's what's his name? He said, he's a sorry excuse for a punter. 12-year-old kid. Kind of put me in my place, right? And it was exactly what I needed to hear. It was exactly what I needed to hear, and it came from the most unlikely source and most unexpected. I'm thinking I'm going to make this kid's day, and he kind of didn't make my day. But I look at that as a defining moment in my life that I believe was preordained and made possible for him to speak that into my life, because I thought I was kind of a big deal. Thought I was a big deal because I was in the NFL and I had made it through my first year, and I got a little puffed up and prideful. And the key, no matter what it is that you do or whatever you become to success in life, is humility. And he just kind of cut me down to size and humbled me that day. And I began to look at myself a little bit differently. If I wasn't impressing a 12-year-old kid, I probably wasn't impressing too many people. And so it really gave me a true reflection of myself and saw myself in a different light. And so as you have success in life, realize that the challenge and the need to be humble and to cultivate that in your life and to look to others and how to serve others. And what this guy on the screen said, did you catch those things about serving others and looking for others and how to help other people and not to reflect on yourself? That is the key. And humility is the foundation of all true success before man and before God. So pride is the thing that God hates most of anything. It's the thing that we can see in other people. And so we really need to be aware of that. And I really want to encourage you in that if you have success, count your blessings. Okay, count your blessings. Know that it's from above. Promotion and position come from nowhere on earth, not in our own strength. They come from above. And I'm going to leave you with this. And this is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. It says, if you're going to boast, don't boast about your wisdom or your strength, but boast about this, that you understand and know me. That's true success. That's worth boasting about. Guys, thanks for listening today. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
Do you think he deserves a special bracelet you guys will be getting? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Let's have law enforcement in the building. Come on up with me. If you can make your way through the back in front of the bleachers, stand up by the podium. Mr. Rowe, Sr., Mr. Hanson, if you guys could join us too. Miss Trower, there you are, come on up. Miss Wellham, Mr. Clark, come on up. I'm going to have my teachers stand to my right. And then, Cody, if you want to start at the podium. As these guys take their spots, this is where the fun part starts with the certificates. Again, these are well-deserved guys. You may grab your... When you guys look at the podium, you guys look at the table and see the jersey and the helmet up here. I look at that and think that's authentic. Would you guys agree? And I think the words of wisdom you guys were just given is authentic as well. You guys see the crowd I have up in front of me. I think these folks are pretty authentic too, and they're all here for you. Rain or shine, good or bad, you're never too old to start over. I think Mr. Hansen's words nailed it. It's a very good way to end today. I also want you guys to know you're authentic too. You guys just have to get your goals started up, and that will happen, and we'll rock the world from there. I'm going to have Mr. Clark. You can read off your students first. These guys, when you hear your name, I'm going to tell you right now it's alphabetical order because it's easier for me to take roll call. When you come up and get your certificate, I want you to come over to this side of the gym, get your certificate, and then all these folks over here are going to give you high fives. This here is your support system. This here is your support system. Each person up here has a unique way to help educate you no matter what line of work it is. Remember when I talked about the different law enforcement agencies week 1? We've got the sheriff's office up here, and we also have Game Fish and Park up here. So that's pretty cool. These guys are up here to help show you that they care. This is the real thing. Educators, they couldn't be more important in your life right now, knowing that because of them and administration in your schools, you guys are able to build a solid foundation, make it what you want.
Okay, from Ramona, Landon Calise. Tristan Dorhout. Braden Hansen. Savannah Howe. Emily Matson. Caden McLaughlin. Clay Misar. Everett Misar. Jay Scharnbeck. Gamlin Schneider. Eva Sheeks. Harris Terwilliger. And Briella Wetlaufer.
All right, Rutland 5th grade, we have Coulter Devaney, Grace Feige, Layla Gibney, Hattie Hansen, Hyde Hansen, Leslie Lindholm, Cooper Merager, Isabel Pickard, Dylan Sievers, Elizabeth Sorensen, Wyatt Trickstead, Lorelei Walls, and Lacey Weber.
Rutland, 6th grade, Ari Agnew. Zaid Anderson. Cece Gibney. Melody Gilkerson. Kaylee Lindholm. Isabella Malish. Josie Nold. Hayden Oftedal, Rhett Poost, Dylan Rennis, Kim Trigstead, Seth Weston, and Garrett Wicks.
Before I dismiss any of you, a round of applause for these guys. Before you guys are dismissed, Mr. Books, Mr. Fisher, somebody needs to help me be a runner to go get the ice cream treats. I think Mr. Brosnahan may have taken them in the kitchen. It should be a big blue and white cooler. Makes a lot of noise, so it'll be obvious it's from my house. You kids, I want you to know, as well as parents, stick around the kids. Compliments of Dairy Queen and Madison with DeLon Mork. He is a huge sponsor in the youth period. I'm going to zap myself, especially when it comes to the Empower program. He's the one that actually provides the funds for the bracelets and said, I'll be doing this as long as I'm around. Now with that said, you graduates get a ice cream treat before you go, as well as something that's even more exciting. Mr. Hansen's going to stick around to give autographs as well as pictures if you want. So stick around. Parents, can't thank you guys enough for being here. I think this speaks volumes to your child and the school, especially me, knowing that this is the kind of support you give us in return, making sure you guys are here to say, I care. As soon as we get the ice cream treats, actually, law enforcement, you guys are all dismissed. You can go mingle. Students, you can take a seat, and as soon as we're done, we'll be able to wrap up. Anybody who wants to start taking photos, anybody who wants to start introducing themselves, you're all dismissed. Thank you.